Hi, this is Paul Palmer. Today I want to talk to you about quality control. I know I often talk about quality assurance, and the background image I think is quite interesting for all the GMP defects that they've got in the quality control lab. But the reason I want to talk about quality control is because I want to differentiate for you. So quality assurance does take place in the quality control lab. Now, as some of you might know, I was responsible for quality control for about 10 years, or part of and then responsible for. And I find the differentiation that people struggle to make is quite interesting. So, quality assurance process, proactive, prevents mistakes, auditing, and usually the whole team. Quality control, more to do with the output. It's reactive, responsive, firefighting often, finds the mistakes, involves testing, and it's usually not always, but usually a specific team that carries it out. So you might have the quality control team coming into the facility, into the manufacturing area, into maybe take the samples that from the product, the batch that the manufacturing team, the operations have made. So quality control is really, as it sounds, really, it's not assuring as quality assurance. It's a controlling at the end. So you control it and you test it and you say yes or no. And if you're saying yes, you probably stamp it or sign it off approved. Maybe you released it. But the big differentiation for me is not the quality control team, because the quality control team, you'll find if they're writing SOPs and they're planning for a validation, then they're still doing quality assurance work. But the quality control work is the checks and balances. So let's spread it a bit wider. So it's not just about that last test that you do before it's released. It's also about the in-process checks. You're going along and somebody's done a check and somebody does a second check. You think, yep, it's passed, we can continue. That's quality control still. Just because it's not at the end, it's after something's happened. It's an output still. So you're doing a test on the output. You're not preparing for the input. What else might we think of? Well, you might have inline quality control inspection, and you might do your calibration. Now, some people say calibration is assurance, and some people say it's control. Well, if you're making sure you first check calibration, yes, it was all right what we've already done, well, you can say that's quality control. But then the calibration part, the preparing it for the future, is quality assurance. And what about validation? Where does quality control come into validation? Well, quality assurance is about the preparation of the validation, isn't it? So quality control must be the later part, the tests that you do that go into the report that you create for your validation assessment. So think of it as a before and an after. I always think of the controlling function as the one that comes after you've done the job. Quality control is verifying. It's controlling, it's responsive, it's not preemptive, it's not proactive. It finds the mistakes, it finds the things that have gone wrong. Oh, we shipped that to the wrong place. It's borderline quality control. But if you're doing a check, verifying that it's gone to the right place, then that you can class as quality control because it's after the event. Checking your temperature data, it's already been shipped, it's got there, your quality control check, did it pass? Did it stay within the 15 to 20, 15 to 25 limits, the 2 to 8 limits? That's your quality control check. And then there's lots of other things we can think of for quality control, isn't there? What about your visual inspection? It's come out the right color. That's QC. What about taking the sample and submitting it to an external lab? Well, they're doing the test, aren't they? And you're just sending it out. So that's quality control activity. All right, you're not doing the control yourself, but it's still a quality control activity. Now, that doesn't mean the quality control team has to do it. This is the important differentiation that I want everybody to understand. The activities, the function, the the interpretation of quality control versus quality assurance. Because what I would like to see is for most of you to focus on assurance, not on control. If you've got something automated like a go no go gauge, then that's doing your quality control for you. It goes through. If you've got something that you need to plan for, you need to prepare everything, then that's quality assurance. So preparing your no go gauge, getting it right, getting it the right dimensions, putting it together and putting it into place with the right process, the right level of assurance that it's going to be right for the job, that's quality assurance. So that's it for today. It's Paul Palmer. I hope it all makes sense. If you've got any questions, leave them at the bottom of the video in the comments. Go ahead, ask away. I'll answer you. I'll talk to you soon. It's Paul Palmer.